Hello everyone, my name is John Willis, Chief Equity Officer for the City of Jackson. Today, I'm here to present to you the second annual business segment of our Jackson Juneteenth celebration. Juneteenth is a celebration that commemorates African American emancipation dating back to June 19, 1865, when General Gordon Granger rode in with the strength of 2,000 troops to set the last bastion of enslaved people free in Galveston, Texas. Today, the Jackson Juneteenth Committee brings you the largest cultural celebration in the city of Jackson, the Jackson Juneteenth Celebration and Resource Fair. The Jackson Juneteenth celebration is built upon 5 pillars: history, education, employment, health, and financial literacy. Today's business segment is a part of that financial literacy. There are so many examples of business people who have failed and become successful. Walt Disney was fired from his first newspaper because he lacked imagination. Oprah Winfrey was fired for her first job because she empathized too much with her audience. Dr. Holland Sanders decided Kentucky Fried Chicken was refused over 1,000 times before he ran a successful business. So how much more challenging can it be for a black-owned business? You get to see and feel what that looks like. You get to hear the experiences of successful businesses right here in the city of Jackson on this segment. We look forward to bringing you many examples of how people have fought and overcome to be successful in business. Dr. Booker T. Washington said, "Remember, success is not measured by your position in life, but by the obstacles you had to overcome to get there." Today, you will see and hear some of the obstacles our successful business owners have had to overcome to be successful in Jackson. Before we go any further, we would like to take the time to thank our primary sponsors: Jackson College, Baker College, Spring Arbor University, the City of Jackson, Jackson County Sheriff's Office, Alro Steel, and ASP Enterprises. Thank you all for your contribution in making this celebration beautiful for all of us Jacksonians.
Parents, do you want to connect your kids with food, friends, and fun this summer? Free summer meals are available for all children under the age of 18, and no registration or ID is required. Call Jackson Public Schools Summer Lunch Program at 841-2693 for details.
Grocery stores make shopping convenient, and convenience is what Alro Metals Outlet is all about. Our vast inventory of aluminum, steel, plastics, and more will help you get the job done. Whether you're a professional or a do-it-yourselfer, our retail stores make it simple. You select it, we cut to length, and shear to size. Right here, right now. Whatever you need, Alro Metals Outlet is your one-stop shop for metals.
Hi, it's John Willis again, Chief Equity Officer for the City of Jackson. But today I'm here to bring you a very personal business experience that may shock you, but you'll be very glad to know. Today we're here to talk about RJ's Metropolitan Ice Cream Company. Rob and Yvette Wilkie are native Jacksonians who grew up here, got married here, and started a business. They say 1 + 1 is 2, but not when it comes to business. A husband and a wife team is one of the strongest forces you can have in business to be successful. So that's like 2 squared. You'll meet our 2 squared couple in this presentation of RJ's Metropolitan Ice Cream Company. Hi everyone, I'm John Willis. I am here today from the Jackson Juneteenth Executive Committee for our Black Business Focus segment with the owners of RJ's Metropolitan Ice Cream and RJ's Heavenly Delight, Rob and Yvette Wilkie. How you all doing today?
Fine. How are you today?
Man, I am so excited to be here, man, because I've had an opportunity to watch you all start and get to where you are today. Can you just tell them who Rob and Yvette Wilkie are a little bit? Just tell them a little bit about yourselves.
Well, we're here. We're from Jackson. We both grew up here, graduated in the public school system. We started our entrepreneur journey probably about 7-8 years ago after we lost our son. So I know a lot of people probably have heard about how we lost our son. That kind of what started us on our journey. After the passing of our son, my daughter's birthday was coming up, and she was like, "Mom, can you make me this Barbie cake?" So I YouTubed it, watched it, made her this cake, and that was the only thing that kind of, you know, uplift my spirits after just a lot of dark days. So Robert really started helping me just out of, man, to try to get my wife's spirits back up. So he did it out of love, and that's kind of really just all how it started. So I started telling him, Robert, I want to take classes, I want to do this. So anything to be like, oh, well, she's not going to sit around the house sad. Let me help get her this class. Where's your class at? You know, he would drive me from Atlanta to here to take different classes to try to develop. And then we just started, you know, after I made my daughter cake, then my sisters might ask me to make their kid's birthday cake. Then Robert would show people at his job. They would ask me to make him a cake, and we just started from there.
And when did you realize that this was a business opportunity or something you may want to be in a business doing for yourself?
You know, honestly, we had never even really heard of entrepreneurship or thought about it. So we didn't even look at it at first as a business opportunity. It was really just as,
just
you know,
to do.
As a distraction from what we were going through at the time. But as we started doing that, would make cakes for just the cost of ingredients. We wasn't doing it for any profit. It was just like, okay, well, if you buy your ingredients, I'll make you a cake. And then after a while, it started getting real time consuming. So I'm like, well, I got to charge them a little something extra. So then it just started growing like that, and it evolved. And somewhere in the background, Robert must have been a true businessman. And he started thinking like, well, maybe we could get a spot. So he started looking for different little locations. And one day he was like, I think I got a little spot that I think this guy is going to let you rent out, and we're going to make it into a storefront.
Wow.
So that's how that happened.
So Rob, I know Rob was working in a factory, you were working in a bank. At what point, what made you feel like this is something I can transition into and become a business?
John, actually, like she said, we've been doing it 7-8 years.
Yeah.
So it's probably like right around year 5, I'm like, man, this could be something big.
Right.
You know what I mean? So after working, one cake led to another cake, then some desserts, then we getting calls from this person. And so we was like, man, this could be a great opportunity to, you know, a business. So we got the storefront, then we got another storefront. Wow. And then we just started, the community got behind us, and man, here
and
we
I
are.
think what really made us believe that it could be bigger and dream bigger was Robert. Everybody know he's a huge U of M fan.
Yeah, most definitely.
For his birthday one day, I was like taking him to see, what was the old coach name? Schembeck or whatever.
Bo Schembeck.
But okay, and so I surprised him, like, we're gonna go see this meet, whatever.
Yeah.
So we was there, and I seen like a lot of concession stands.
Right. Big time.
Outside, and I told Robert, man, maybe we could have a concession stand here. And Robert was like, yeah, right. Like us little, you know, that's where you got limited beliefs. He was like, us little from Jackson, that's like not possible. So that's kind of like what he said. So I went home, I called some people, left my number, I told them. So I was like, well, we'll just see. So they called me back and was like, well, you have to come in and kind of come before this team and board and present this. And I just thought, well, Robert, I don't know if we're going to get it, but it'd be a good experience or not.
Right.
But so we went, and the list, you know, was kind of a long process to get into the thing, but we went, and then the next day they like called us, and I told them, because like we stayed up all night working on our presentation for this thing, you know, we put our all into it. And then once we got that, became vendors for U of M, then other opportunities started coming, and I was like, wow, so this could be really a thing. So it just made me believe that sometimes if you don't think it might be possible, you have to try anyways.
Right.
So that's what really helped us, because, you know, I'm sure some of y'all have listened to Steve Harvey's segment about Jump.
Yes, most
and
definitely.
I told Robert, that was so encouraging to us because he says sometimes you have to jump and your parachute will not activate until you jump. Wow. Like you won't even know what really is possible or what can happen. So I told Robert, we just gonna take some blind chances and just see, you know, we're people of integrity, we try to do the right thing. We gonna pray and take the chance.
How did that feel though? Because I talked to so many people, especially people that were interested in opening black businesses, and they have this idea in their head, but maybe they're working somewhere or they're doing something and they just don't know what it takes to make that jump. What did that jump feel like to you? How was that?
For me, John, I guess the numbers.
Yeah.
You know, the numbers got to make sense.
Right.
And when they did, I jumped.
How do you put together a business plan to get this done?
We literally figured out on our own.
Yeah.
Wow.
We took a lot of just studying. We would listen to a lot of people on YouTube, business people. I can't think of the man's name. We would listen to a lot. Zig Ziglar, I think.
Yeah,
we would just listen to a lot of different people, and so watching Shark Tank and just different stuff. So we would, you know, so we self-learn. We would stay up at night, maybe when other couples, and we would sit down and write and think of plans and dreams and really
together.
Put our work into it, because it meant more than just business. It was like our connection to our son, to make him proud, to make his memory live on. So it's a lot of meaning to us than just business.
Okay, so now is that where the RJs comes in at?
Yeah.
Wow.
Robert Jr.
Wow, see, I never knew that.
Yeah.
I never knew that.
Right there.
That's powerful. So at what point did you realize that I can take this jump, leaving my job, and I know you were making good money at the time, to make this our family business?
You know, we're doing it for RJ.
Right.
That's first and foremost, and for my wife.
Right.
And we just said we was gonna do it, John. I told my wife, I said, this is gonna be my last day.
Yeah, Robert said that, and I didn't believe him. He was like, on June 1st, Cole,
I said,
I'm taking the leap. He was saying this like, he started saying around, man, I just thought he talking, because he always said, one day I'm just gonna just take that leap. And so one day he called me, he was like, and get my stuff out the locker room. He was like, I did it, I'm done. And he said, what movie? He said, like, he ain't gonna ever look back. He was like, I'm doing this and I'm never looking back. And we did it, and we put our all into it. And
you know, so, I mean, and we work hard 7 days a week.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. So I knew Rob as a young football player.
Yeah.
And I know whatever you gave everything.
Yeah.
I knew Yvette. Yvette's always been focused on what she wanted to do. So how much did that come into play? That work ethic, because I watched you turn it into your business, but through the work that you both put in.
Well, I'm a hard worker, John. You know, I grew up 4 brothers, inner city, playing ball, sports. Yes. Grew up on the south side of Jackson, you know what I mean? No father, so I just want to grind, man. That's what I told my wife. I'll work anybody. That's how. You know, I know people out here work hard, but I'll be like,
you weren't looking for nothing given to you in particular.
No.
Did you guys find the need? Did you form an alliance with a banker or a credit union? Was it something like that to help you move forward?
No. We literally would work, and I would tell Robert, man, maybe we need 2 mixers. So we literally might work real hard, do extra orders, sample night, then buy another mixer. And then so we keep evolving and keep growing and just.
We would save, get something, and work hard, cut some grass. We was doing a little bit of everything, John, to get where we had to get.
So I watched you, and I just learned today that you actually had a commercial kitchen in your basement first.
Yeah, we licensed our basement
that's
first.
Where we started.
In your basement first to start. So this is something that started as just a stress relief in your head. You moved it from there to the basement. I know you went to concession stands. I remember the first place, way out Lansing Avenue. The second place, the Heavenly Delights place. And then now to this. This is really something amazing. I think you guys have really set a pattern for people to follow. But if there was one solid bit of advice you could give them, what would you tell them?
I think I really would tell them, put in the work. If you chase your dreams and if you're willing to put in the work, a lot of it really is hard work. And when stuff don't work out right away, you can't give up. Because it was probably plenty of no's before we got to yeses. We would just keep reinventing ourselves, re-evolving and going back to the table. Well, maybe if we do it this way, or maybe if that. So I think you have to be willing to put in the work and dedication.
And I would say, John, find a mentor.
Yes.
I talk to different businessmen in the community.
Yes, sir.
and the conversations aren't always good. You know,
Right.
sometimes they got to tell you how it is.
Yeah.
You know, and you got to be humble. And I just say find a mentor, find somebody that's doing what you want to do,
Yeah.
and go for it.
So the last thing I want you to do is just think of a point when you guys are in this business and you've got it going, but you feel like it's not working. What did you do to get past that point? What did Rob and Vet do to say, hey, it's not going the way we thought, but we're going to push past it? What was that like?
Sometimes, honestly, we would have to cry, pray. Like we said, maybe find somebody who had a little more knowledge than we did. Go talk to them. When you ran into this, how did you get out of it? But the most thing, don't stop.
Yeah.
Wow.
Don't stop.
That's powerful. That's powerful. Put in the work. Put in the work and don't stop. Those are two things that I've really gained from what you're saying today. Put in the work and don't stop.
And don't stop.
That's huge.
That's it right
That's
there.
huge.
When I think of the phrase, let your light shine, I think about the fact that we're called to be the light in the darkness. So for me, that means being joyful, being honest, being bold, being loving and caring. And so when people see me, they're supposed to be able to tell that there's something different about me. As president of Student Government Association, I let my light shine by just being willing to serve others and being willing to help whoever. So it doesn't really matter whether I know the person or not, just being willing to go in and fill in the gap.
People today, they could spend half their lives over 50. That's a lot of living. So it helps to have a wise friend and fierce defender in your corner. A friend like AARP. So your health lives longer,
This is just slow-mo karate?
Just slow-mo karate.
your money lives longer,
I just bought that.
I just sold that.
and your happiness lives longer. That's why the younger you are, the more you need AARP. Join today.
Hi, my name is Kevin Brown, and I serve as the Chief Diversity Officer at Spring Arbor University and a member of the Jackson Juneteenth Committee. Becoming a successful business owner takes hard work, time, dedication, and sacrifice. It also requires tremendous support from your community, friends, and family. I had a chance to have a conversation with someone who knows all of these things oh so well. We now present Tanya's New Directions. I'm here with Tanya Ryan Tanner, owner-operator of Tanya's New Directions, LLC. Thank you for joining us today as we focus on celebrating our Black businesses as part of our Juneteenth celebration. And so I'd like to know a little bit more about you, Tanya, and sort of your story. So why don't we just start with, so is Jackson, Michigan your home?
Yes. I've been in Jackson all my life, born and raised in the country,
Excellent.
and just started off as a country girl. And, well, country, I was out on farms and fruit and vegetables growing and all that you do on the farm.
That's wonderful. Wonderful. Now, where'd you go to high school?
At Parkside.
Parkside. Okay. And so tell us share with us the journey from country girl to owner operator of a hair salon, and that also has beauty supply products as well.
Well, I started out in the country doing my mom's hair, my aunt's hair, and all the people that I lived with out on Meridian Road.
Mm-hmm.
I used to do their hair,
Okay.
braid yarn in their hair, press their hair, just all sorts of things. And then my mom, as I got older, getting ready to go into high school, she told me, she said, I think you should do hair. I'm like, hair?
Mm-hmm.
And she told me, yeah. So after I got through high school, went right straight into cosmetology school. graduated from Parkside in 82.
Okay.
Went straight in 83. Came out in 84. Okay. And that's how I got started.
Wow. Was it easy or difficult, the road that led you to where you are today?
It was kind of easy because I had my parents behind me 100%. My dad and my mom, 100%.
When you came out, did you begin right away with a building, or how did Tanya's New Directions evolve to where it is today?
I came right out and I started doing hair in my mother's kitchen.
Okay, okay.
And then I started getting all these people, and my mom was like, "Oh no, we have to find you a building."
Kitchen's not big enough.
Yeah, it's just not big enough. So then my father started looking, and it was nothing really out there that he could see, and I ended up getting with Dina Littlejohn.
Okay.
That's where I first got my start. And then I was with her for a couple of years, and then I decided to go off on my own. Okay. So I went off into Lanthea Brown. I don't know if anybody's familiar with her, but she's an old-time beautician in Jackson. And I was on Moore Street. Okay. That's where Lanthea Brown was. Went there, was there for about 3 years, and she come to me and told me, "Hey, it's time for you to move on. I'm not trying to put you out, but you need to move on and get a bigger building."
Okay.
I thought about it, and I was kind of scared, and I was like, "No, I can't make this move. I'm kind of scared to get out there and do that." Then the next couple of weeks, she came to me and she said, "Oh, by the way, you need to get you a vehicle too, you know, because I've been talking about that, getting a vehicle, and I'm scared to do that, you know." So finally, I ventured out, got me a car, seen everything was working okay. Then I went back to the building where I was at with Dina Littlejohn, because she had closed up, and I went back to that spot on Francis Street. Okay. So I was there for 17 years on the corner of Francis and Addison. And then I ventured away from there to go to Stewart. There 17 years. Then I left there, and I ended up going out to Scruples, where I'm at now.
Wow. So you were back on Francis Street, correct? And then you moved.
Family Dollar was taken over.
Okay.
That was the main reason why I left.
Fair enough. And
when I left Stewart Street, it was just time to leave there.
Okay. Okay.
Just stuff going on. And
sure. And you're happy where you are now?
Yes, I've been there 7 years.
Wonderful.
And I love it there, even though it's still Tanya's New Directions, LLC. I'm still owner and operator for me, but I'm just renting a spot out on Horton Road.
Did you receive support, financial, other business support from organizations like the Chamber of Commerce or?
No, I have tried to reach out, you know, several times for different things, and nothing never worked. So
you did this on your own completely?
Yes, and still going at it.
What advice would you give to other future entrepreneurs who want to, who are thinking about doing their, you know, opening their own business, future cosmetology students that are thinking, well, I can do hair and I'd like to do that. You're an inspiration to them. What advice would you share with them?
You know, just keep going, keep pushing. Just push, push, push. And that's what I'm doing. I'm just pushing.
Sure. As you reflect on your story and your success, are there things that you would do differently because it might get you to this point sooner, or may have, if you could go back and do it all over again, if I didn't do this, I could have avoided that? Are there any of those kinds of things as you reflect?
Save money. That's the only way that you would get somewhere in life, is to save money.
Sure.
And that's what I would have probably did different, is to save more money. Because basically I was on my own doing my thing, so I had to have money to do it.
Sure.
So it's just, that's what I would have did different, is save money.
It's an honor for me to get a chance to speak with you, for you to share your story as we celebrate Juneteenth. And if you would like to, again, let folks know where you're located,
Okay.
that'd be great.
Okay. I'm at 1515 Horton Road.
Excellent. Tanya's New Directions, LLC.
Baker College is a haven for students who dream big and have the grit required to turn vision into reality. Baker College prides itself on being one of the most affordable four-year colleges in Michigan, with a range of scholarships and other financial aid options available for new, returning, and transfer students, and with 5 campus locations across the state and a variety of 100% online degrees, success has never been more convenient. Pursue your passion at Baker College.
I use my brain power to help kids realize theirs. I am Henry.
When Tyler got his new heart, ours became whole again. We are Henry.
I'm a bike rider and a rare cancer survivor. I am Henry.
I move patients from point A to point believe. I am Henry.
I am Henry.
I am Henry.
When you found your inner believer and all-around conqueror, you found your Henry.
Parents, do you want to connect your kids with food, friends, and fun this summer? Free summer meals are available for all children under the age of 18, and no registration or ID is required. Call Jackson Public Schools Summer Lunch Program at 841-2693 for details.
Hi, I'm Anthony Parker, owner of ASP Enterprises LLC, a financial services company, and ASP Logistics, a delivery service provider, and recent retiree of Consumers Energy. Also, I am a member of the Jackson Juneteenth Committee. To become and stay successful in business, especially as an African American, requires one to possess a tremendous amount of perseverance, resilience, and determination. One must fight and beat the odds of failure that is oftentimes stacked against them. I present to you a business owner for more than 50 years, Golden Gibson of Body Works Reconditioning. Who is Golden Gibson? Tell me about you, how long you've been in Jackson, and just tell me a little bit about yourself, where you graduated from, or did you go to college, that sort of thing.
I was raised in Jackson, been a lifelong citizen of this community. I am 75 years old, been through it all, seen a lot, experienced a lot, and have been grateful to a good community. My life began on the east side of Jackson, and I went to East Junior High School, and we just had wonderful times, good memories. I went on to be a musician. And I think one of the greatest influences was that I was able to obtain scholarships to Western Michigan and Wayne State. I was a drummer. The greatest influence there was a teacher named Ray Burnett. And he taught in the Jackson Public Schools for, I think, 35 to 40 years. But in music, we always had a challenge. And there was one individual that I was always faced against, was Dennis Pienta. And Dennis's parents always had the money to give him all the private lessons and stuff. My mother never had that kind of money. Mr. Burnett recognized on a challenge one day, hey, this guy has been practicing and performing. And I became the first chair. And that right there gave ambition to do other things. I went on to Jackson High School and became, in 1965, the first black student body president of Jackson High. And I think Jackson High had been in existence since, what, 1800s? And that was a focal point. I gave the graduation speech and got a standing ovation. Mr. Holman wrote to me before he died the impression of the community and the people that heard my speech. From there, I went to Western Michigan and performed, played in the marching band, played in the Kalamazoo Symphony. And those were great times because at halftime, here we were boogling, and I had a little drum set out front, and I was the man. But, yeah. I came back home and started working for Citibank and in computer operations. Met a lot of people, a lot of friends, a lot of influential people. Back then, Jackson was polarized because of the racial issues. Heavy.
About what years were those?
That would have been 1975, 78, 80s.
Okay.
Our community was a lot different. It was defined. Black people lived on the south side or the east side.
Okay.
Few lived on the north side. And there was always a criminal crime act in Jackson that was just horrible. The prejudice factor was abundant. Black people worked in factories but couldn't get loans. Black people worked in factories and built this community but couldn't build a beautiful home.
Yeah.
You couldn't go to the bank and get a loan, but you could stack up money. And the highest point was what kind of car you drove, because it wasn't what kind of house you had.
To go in business for yourself, maybe you can tell me a little bit about that.
Well, the big decision was I had party stores.
Party stores?
Gold mine party stores.
Okay.
And then back in the 70s and 80s, there was a rush to have black people in business, downtown particularly. And while I was working for Commonwealth Associates, I developed a men's shirt and tie shop. And I was always in, called the Gallows. I was always in competition with Bacon. Charles Bacon had a clothing store. There was one of three blacks, and the other was Vernon Morrell, and he had beautiful clothing store down on Michigan Avenue.
Downtown?
Downtown, and that began an inspiration and determination to, you got that competition there. I'm a competer.
Yeah. What was the thing that made you decide, you know what, I'm going to go in business for myself? What was that moment?
My father was like one of the greatest entrepreneurs. started a insurance company in Gary, Indiana. I remember Doug McCready and all the people at Michigan Seed Company. Doug was a very influential person in my life. Doug McCready, Pat Patrick, Dr. Sill, Judge Justin, Dr. Willoughby.
So they had some influence in your life, though. I mean, some
yes.
positive influence to make you think about going into business for yourself. And about how long ago was it when you first went into business? Was that back in what years about was that?
I've been in business for, actually Body Works has been in existence for 50 years.
For 50 years?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And but that wasn't my first business. I started the Double G riding stables at Ellisharp Park when I was 24 years old. And that in itself was the highlight of any community businessman, black businessman participation.
Was it a horseback riding stables, and how many horses did you have?
Horseback riding stables for the community of Jackson. And you had to have the approval of the City Commission, the Parks and Recreation Commission, and we started that with 13 horses, and it was so overwhelming, the participation, that it became hard to operate with just 13 horses.
Because there's such a demand for it? Is that what it was?
Demand, oh my goodness. And we ran 2 and 3 hour waiting lists. The only thing that was different is that you're working horses, and you tried to get the city to understand that you needed a rotation. 13 horses just weren't enough.
Were you limited in trying to get like some additional horses, or financing to get additional horses?
The financing wasn't the big thing back then. The regulation that we could only have 13 horses.
Oh, that was a city regulation that limited you to 13 horses. Man, I would imagine that was such a demand. I mean, that would be what a jewel that would be for Jackson right now. I mean, that would have been.
We had a lot of problems. People sometimes thought it was management problems because, you had 13 horses. Phil Bennett was the parks manager, and he came to me like 10 years after we had closed up and apologized for his lack of understanding about black business, about being in business, about the horses, things that he did and said, and his performance really hurt us. Gary Lamb and Howard Wood and all of them, they were all behind us. But I remember there were certain things that brick walls we ran up against. One, and was trying to get more horses. And people didn't understand, you're gonna get saddle sores on horses, sweaty days, the demands, and some people, we had guided tours through Ellisharp Park. We developed all the trails. We did everything, including putting in the water and stuff, the water system.
Even the trails that are out there right now, those were
some of them.
Oh, those are some of the trails that you created back
back in the 70s.
In the 70s.
There was a lot of violence in Ellisharp Park. And I remember a woman named Mrs. Pond, and her group came against the black existence in Ellisharp Park, because back then the community, every Sunday they could go and have, I mean, there were nice concerts at the park and riding stables at the park. There was a swimming pool at the park. There was just an enormity of activities there to try to keep people active, to keep kids active. When black kids were there using the pool, that became a problem. When blacks came into the park riding horses or playing or doing whatever they did, that was a problem for a lot of white people. And I remember Jimmy Johnson was one of the first entrepreneurs in Ellisharp Park. He was selling ice cream sandwiches and stuff out of
Oh, okay.
a little, and they just gave him the flux. But Mrs. Pond and them came against us, whole organization. I mean, whew, I've never seen anything like it.
Sounds like a wonderful business.
Until we had a fire.
Oh, so what happened with this fire?
Well, it burned down the Double G riding stables. And people said, "Oh my goodness, Goldie burned down the riding stables to collect the insurance." Well, we never had insurance. And people came to my rescue. Doug McCready, Dr. Jerry Booth, Lindy McCready, they all came out and helped me rebuild.
And knowing that you had nothing to do with the fire, that probably really
lost 16.
Tore your business down.
Yeah, lost 16 horses.
So, given all of your experience, would you recommend that another black person go into business, like in the auto industry, like you were in the body works or selling cars? What would be your advice to?
I would recommend that anybody find a niche.
Find a niche.
Find a niche, and develop your own ideas. Make your own money.
Yeah.
And dealing in corporate America is sometimes difficult.
Right.
But dealing out here in the streets is even more difficult.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Anthony Parker, owner of ASP Enterprises LLC, a financial services company, and ASP Logistics, a delivery service provider, and recent retiree of Consumers Energy. Also, I am a member of the Jackson Juneteenth Committee. To be successful as a nonprofit organization, one must possess or acquire the skill and ability to network with a wide variety of community members and organizations. They must also have a tremendous amount of perseverance, resilience, and determination. These skills exemplify the work of Diane Washington of Young People of Purpose, also known as YPOP. I present to you Diane Washington.
tell me a little bit about Diane. Who is she, and kind of how long have you been in Jackson, and kind of give us a take of who you are.
All right, I've been in Jackson mostly all my life, over 60 years actually. I'm a wife, a mother, a wife of Starlin Washington, who's a pastor. Okay. And we have 6 children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren, and I love this community, and I have, you know, started out as a young person being active in the community. I kind of started out as a teenage real estate person. I bought property and our houses and rented out to kids as an 18-year-old, and it just kind of expanded. Okay. You know, I continued to do that, and it just made me love my community more and love the youth that I eventually started working with. Wow. And just a little bit more, I'm from down south.
Goulden, Missouri?
Yeah, Goulden, Missouri. It's a show me state. And just having awesome examples of people in my family. You know, our history and our roots are important as being who we are. And our family, my grandfather being a contractor and, you know, helping folks down in Missouri and coming up to Michigan, and my father and mother. I'm surrounded by wonderful people that have helped to make me who I am.
So thanks for that. Yeah, that was great. Let's transition a little bit into the business world or the nonprofit world that you're in right now. And when did you decide, Diane, to go into this nonprofit or the business world?
Well, like I mentioned, the business world was really at a young age, but the nonprofit came as I was volunteering, you know, working with youth, and I was working with the schools and working in after-school programs, and then we started our own programming, working with churches, and I worked with the Jackson Public Schools, the Housing Commission, you know, and just working with youth and seeing the excitement that they had, but at the same time knowing the atmosphere around them was negative. There was like negative atmospheres about our youth, them not being positive or them being, you know, negative. And so I wanted to make sure that I represented our youth in the way that I also saw them, in the positive way, and what they could bring to the community, all of their assets and all of their wonderful knowledge, because our youth is our future.
Yeah, and so you mentioned that your husband is a pastor, and so I imagine the nonprofit, I mean, that spirit of giving and was a part of you becoming who you are, who you are today.
Yeah, and just that ministry, that mission, that passion, you know, just being instilled in me. You know, that's nothing that I just came up of myself, but it was instilled in me, you know, to move forward and push forward and make that happen, make those dreams come true, make the visions come true.
What was the process like, right? When you went from that nonprofit and you started to working with the kids, how did that process go?
In some of our classes, we had like little business classes, and the kids would talk about what they wanted to be, what they aspired to be, you know, and so that led me to write the book, Annie's Amazing Art Venture, because the youth were like, well, I wanted to have this, and somebody said I wanted to start the Holy Moly Donut Shop, and it was like, okay, I'm gonna take this opportunity to try to share some of the aspirations of our youth as well.
How was that writing that book?
Well, a lot of it came from my own experiences of traveling. You know, going to Africa and South Africa and seeing Mandela when I was there, and seeing the greatness of Africa, but also seeing the poverty at the same time. And it kind of inspired me to, Clara in the book is from South Africa, and the relationship between the United States and South Africa, and how all cultures were coming together in the book just to love one another with their differences, and not being able, you know, recognizing other people's differences and accepting them, you know, loving them. And so those are one of the pillars. Culture is one of the pillars of YPOP, art, business, culture, and service, the ABCs of success. And so that's Annie, Barney, Claire, and Sam. In the book, they represent those things. So just Native Americans, Penny in Native American, it's because I went to Omaha, Nebraska as a missionary and did Vacation Bible School with the Native Americans there, and also with the Sudanese children there. And so all of these experiences of my travels, you know, to Costa Rica, Puerto Rico, and other places that I went and had experiences, I brought them back in the book. And so all of these children and their ethnicities and the things, the businesses that they wanted to do and their aspirations, like it's art, because Annie in the book was a low self-esteem young lady, didn't think much of herself. But the youth around her inspired her. And the work that they did not only helped Annie to come out of her shell and be a great woman, they all became great, helping one another. So that was the kind of the moral and gist of the book, them being able to be the leaders to help each other out.
But thinking about all of that knowledge and information that you've taken in over the years, would you recommend that, in particular black folks, would you recommend them to get involved with a nonprofit, either get involved with like one like yours or even create their own? What's your advice for those folks that was thinking about nonprofits, or maybe not thinking about nonprofits?
Well, I believe that a nonprofit is something that you have to have a passion for, a vision for, a love for, a love for your community to be able to go even when you're not funded. You know, a lot of times, especially our African American youth businesses are not funded as we should be. You know, we need support. You know, and that's why we try to reach out more. But I do definitely recommend a nonprofit. If someone wants to get out there and do that work, I definitely recommend it. And I appreciate it because it has helped me to be able to reach out to others and others reach out to us. You know, I think a mutual helping of one another to be able to make us be successful.
Yeah. Do you think there should be more black nonprofit organizations in Jackson?
I do. I believe there's a door, there's an opportunity. We have some wonderful nonprofits going on right now in the city. A lot of good things are going on in Jackson about nonprofits. So I would love to see more.
Okay. So in today's culture, Diane, so you know, we talk about networking, but there's a difference between networking and knowing what people know. So how important is it just not telling people, but showing them and mentoring them?
Well, matter of fact, one of the youth in the book, Barry, was a mentor to young people. So I use these characters to help our youth understand that mentoring is important. Not only do you be that example, but you share that with them on a personal basis as well. You mentor them in knowledge, you mentor them in life skills, you mentor them in families, you know, showing our youth what it is that they need to be when they grow up. So it's important for us to be truthful, honest, respectful in that role.
I think you just nailed it there. So in being a mentor, it's not always about talking about the rosy things that happen and how, but being a mentor is talking about some of the things that didn't go so well, and being honest and open about it, and saying, no, I didn't get here just riding on a magic carpet. There were some tough times.
We show them that life is hard. You know, struggles are hard, but if you take them on, you know, one step at a time, you can be successful, you know, and use other people's story. You don't have to make some of the same mistakes that other people made. There you go. People show you that in life, no, that's actually not the way I want to go. You know, I saw this and I saw that happen to them. I don't want to go that way. So we let them know that we made mistakes. You know, we veered off on the wrong track, but we were able to make it back. So, and there were people in our lives that help us to get back on track. So we want to be that person in their lives.
So how important is networking in trying to build a business, whether it's a nonprofit business or a for-profit business? How important is networking?
I believe that networking with the right people, I make a special effort to try to surround our youth with people that are positive in our community, for them to network with, for them to associate with, that's going to give them the skills, the type of family, the type of you know, lifestyle that they would like to see. You know, I know they're going to see things that are negative, but we're going to make our effort to make sure that they're surrounded by people that can actually help them. you know, that leads the way, people that have been successful in their own lives or not successful and have turned around. Like in the book, Bucky was a bully in the book, but Bucky turned around his life and started Bucky's Bait Shop. You know, and so we show the children that, you know, you're not always going to be right at the beginning, but network and build relationship with people that can be a help to you.
That's awesome, yeah, and and part of that is people that look like you and people that don't look like you.
Exactly.
People that think like you and people that don't think like you. So it sounds like you've done a wonderful job just kind of looking around of all the stuff that you have here in all of your experiences. So again, this has been a wonderful conversation.
Thank you.
I think you've enlightened a lot of people about young people of purpose known as YPOP.
Yes.
And so I'd say come out, support YPOP, talk to Diane, and get some good knowledge. Thanks again, Diane.
Thank you again.
Okay.
All right.
All right, thanks.
When I think of the phrase, let your light shine, I think about the fact that we're called to be the light in the darkness. So for me, that means being joyful, being honest, being bold, being loving and caring. And so when people see me, they're supposed to be able to tell that there's something different about me. As president of Student Government Association, I let my light shine by just being willing to serve others and being willing to help whoever. So it doesn't really matter whether I know the person or not, just being willing to go in and fill in the gap.
People today, they could spend half their lives over 50. That's a lot of living. So it helps to have a wise friend and fierce defender in your corner. A friend like AARP. So your health lives longer.
This is just slow-mo karate?
Just slow-mo karate.
Your money lives longer.
I just bought that.
Huh, I just sold that.
And your happiness lives longer. That's why the younger you are, the more you need AARP. Join today.
Baker College is a haven for students who dream big and have the grit required to turn vision into reality. Baker College prides itself on being one of the most affordable four-year colleges in Michigan, with a range of scholarships and other financial aid options available for new, returning, and transfer students, and with 5 campus locations across the state and a variety of 100% online degrees, success has never been more convenient. Pursue your passion at Baker College.
My name is Daniel J. Mahoney, former Jackson County Commissioner, former President of the Jackson County Branch NAACP, and current Mayor of the City of Jackson, and proud member of the Juneteenth Planning Committee. Starting and running a business takes discipline, willpower, and determination. And it is a pleasure for me to introduce to you one of the owners from Stop One Insurance Company, Mr. Thaddeus Williams. So Thaddeus Williams.
Yes, sir.
Tell us about who Thaddeus Williams is.
Well, I'm big on loyalty. I'm big on respect, honesty. I'm a family man. I'm a son. I'm a brother. A father now, newly father. My son is be 2 years on May 1st. Consider myself to be a fun person, energetic, leader. Yeah. Just trying to stay in my own lane and take care of my family, man.
Right on, man. Right on. So, are you originally from Jackson?
Oh yes. Born and raised in Jackson, Michigan. Grew up on the north side on Blackstone.
Okay.
Came through JPS.
Right on.
Jackson High, 05.
Go Vikings.
Yep. After Jackson High, I did go to JCC.
Go Jets.
Yep.
Okay.
Got my associates, finished up there. Transferred to Eastern.
Go Eagles.
Graduated from Eastern with a bachelor's in social science.
Yeah.
I originally planned on being a teacher. that didn't kind of didn't pan out, but I did get my degree.
Okay.
And yep, son of Jackson, love
Right
it
on.
here. Came back home after school, and this is my home. This is my home.
Well, you answered my second question already, which was going to be where'd you go to high school, go to college.
Yeah,
So that's great, man. A similar path, man. I went to literally the same path, Jackson High, Jackson College, EMU, man. So,
Yes, sir. Yes,
you
sir.
know, go Vikings, go Jets, go Eagles,
Yes,
you
sir.
know. So I love it. I love it, man. So tell me how you ended up in this profession that you work in. How did you end up in the profession?
Yes, sir. Man, my life has taken me into all different types of jobs and occupations. Man, I've done it all, man. I worked in the malls, I worked in restaurants, I worked in factories. When I first came home from school, really didn't know what I wanted to do. One of my good childhood friends, Corey Richardson, had already had this business going and started in Lansing. He came to me and offered me a opportunity to earn a partnership, in which I took a risk, man. I was working at a beef plant, swimming in cow flesh all day, man, and preservatives and flour, and I really didn't see no advancement there. You know, I didn't want to look up, you know, 10 years down the road and I'll still be standing on the same line. So I took a chance, man. I took a risk. I quit my job. I got my insurance license. Corey helped me along the way. And we're here, man. We got it going. We got it going. Built it, and they will come, man, as they say, man.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And how long have you been in business for here?
Well, it'll be 5 years. We've been going strong. Thankful to Jackson community. They really showed up and showed out for us and supported our business. And, you know, insurance, you know, sometimes we get a bad rap, but, you know, as long as you can be honest and respectful and you can help people save money, you know, people will deal with you, you know, for the most part. So 5 years, it's going strong. We're building, we're growing. 2 years ago, we opened up another location in Ypsilanti, so it's technically 5. I have ownership of 2, Jackson and Ypsi, but there's 5 of total, 3 in Lansing, Jackson and Ypsi. So it's growing. Yeah, man, we just trying to find people to run with us, help us, learn the business, hit different cities, and keep growing, man. That's what we own.
Man, that's amazing. That is amazing. So tell me, in that journey, like what made you decide to step off that line and go into business for yourself? Like what made you take that leap?
I've always kind of had it in my mind that I eventually wanted to become an entrepreneur, and kind of, you know, work for myself and kind of earn my own money. Like I said, I was working at a beef plant. I had my degree, kind of struggling to find a better opportunity even with the degree. I feel like a lot of people can relate to that in this country. You know, I was taught, go to school, get your education, you'll get your degree, you'll get a good job at a company, and, you know, everything will be fine. And that necessarily wasn't the case in my situation. So I didn't, like I said before, I didn't want to just be standing on that line forever. I'm seeing guys on the line 50 years old, their backs is hurt, they got carpal tunnel all in they wrists, you know. I just didn't want to end up like that, you know. So I took a risk. I said, heck, I'm gonna go for it. If I fail, at least I tried it. You know, not only that, doing this with my brothers, Corey Richardson, also shout out Shamario Carr. He's also a co-owner of Stop One Insurance, one of my good childhood friends. You know, I tell people all the time, especially young black fellas, like, you know, you got 3 friends that you can go out to the bar with every night, every weekend. Why can't you start something with them, you know? Why can't y'all pool y'all money together and do something? If you got 5,000, you got 10,000, you got 10,000, let's do something. you know, and it's a beautiful thing, you know. Yeah, we're friends. A lot of people say that you shouldn't go into business with your friends, shouldn't go into business with your family, but, you know, we make it work. Don't get me wrong, it's not always perfect, but we make it work. At the end of the day, it's about loyalty. We come back together. We know what's important. We see the bigger picture. We see the vision. You know, we want this to go. You know, we want this to go far beyond, you know, generational. You know, I can pass this down to my son. You know, if he wants to start a business, he can do what he wants to do. You know, when he gets of age. You know, so you know, that's mainly the reason. One of the main reasons, just to take a chance. Get my time back. That's one of the most important things, is getting your time back. You're trading, you know, you got a job, that's okay, you got a job, you're trading your time for money, that's fine. You got family, things happen, understand, you gotta do what you gotta do. But it's that time, man, being able to go on vacation when I want to, being able to spend time with my son when I want to, that's.
What did it take to make the dream come true?
Yeah, definitely, man. Of course, first thing, money. So, you know, I think there's kind of this myth out there that black people can't get business loans. That's just not true. I just want to, you know, if you have a good plan and a good structure and you present it in a well-educated way, they'll give you money. So, got money from a loan, pay that loan back. After that, everything is profit. As far as our other stores, we build the business. The profits that we make from this location, we go on and use that money to build another location, reinvest in yourself. Don't just take the money and just blow it. Go start something else somewhere else. And it's a repeat type of a plan, man. That's what we on right now. We trying to build as much money up as we can, find people to run with us, go to another city, find a location. Location is, of course, key. Critical. Finding a building. You know, I love this location on West Ave. I mean, West Ave is like a river, man. You know, this is a gold mine. We just hold the tray out, man. The gold falls in, man. It's not really much we got to do. The product sells itself as long as you can, like I said, as long as you can present the product in a respectful, honest way and give people an affordable, decent option to pay. You know, they'll do it. So business loans. You know, if you got your own money, you know, pull it together, find you a location, get you an accountant. That's huge for a lot of businesses. A lot of businesses fail within the first year or two because of money management, poor money management. You know, and we're not all experts. Yeah, we're college educated, but you need an accountant. There's advertising, marketing. I mean, you got to we have Google, we have Facebook, we have commercials, radio. A lot goes into it, man.
So it wasn't no easy road making the dream work, is what I hear you say.
Definitely not, man. Definitely not. Definitely not.
But tell me, for our brothers and sisters out there who may not have that college experience or that college degree, do you think it's still possible to be successful in entrepreneurship?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. My father really instilled this in me. My father is an electrician.
Okay.
He has a trade. You need some type of skill or something that you can provide to make a living. Insurance is very easy to get into. You take a 3-day class, pass the state test, and you have your state license. Get a job with an insurance company or try to go through the right avenues to start your own type of a business, and you can make a good living as an insurance agent. We're hiring. We're always looking for young talent. If you have the gift of gab, as they say, and you can talk, and you're easy to get along with, you might want to look into becoming an insurance agent. And I can help people with that.
Like, what can the community do to better support this business as a black-owned business, as a black-owned business, as well as other businesses that are black-owned?
Wow, man, that's huge, man. Black people, we love you. We love you. We got to stop being our own worst critics. We got to stop being our own worst skeptics. We have a lot of money in our community. All we have to do is stick together and support each other. of course, everyone is approved here at Stop One. You know, white, black, Latin, Muslim, I don't care. You got the green, I'll do it. But as far as in, you know, we just got to stick together, man. We got to, Jackson is, I think we're a little bit behind on that when it comes to, as far as in like other states or other cities. Like you go down south, you will see a lot of black businesses. People are supporting each other. People are going. I think also, I mean, it has a lot to do with commercials and people, you know, they see Jake and then they see, you know, Flo. They just know like that's what I need to do.
Yeah.
But I think, you know, just give people a shot. Find out for yourself.
Yeah.
You know, read the Google reviews. Stop in the office. Don't just take someone else's word for it.
Y'all can ask me. I didn't have to go to Geico to save no money on my insurance policy.
Amen, amen. I appreciate you, Danny. Yes, sir.
Yes, indeed.
Grocery stores make shopping convenient, and convenience is what Alro Metals Outlet is all about. Our vast inventory of aluminum, steel, plastics, and more will help you get the job done. Whether you're a professional or a do-it-yourselfer, our retail stores make it simple. You select it, we cut to length, and shear to size. Right here, right now. Whatever you need, Alro Metals Outlet is your one-stop shop for metals.
My name is Daniel J. Mahoney, former Jackson County Commissioner, former President of the Jackson County Branch NAACP, and current Mayor of the City of Jackson, and proud member of the Juneteenth Planning Committee. Starting and run a business takes discipline, willpower, and determination. It is an absolute pleasure for me to introduce to you a power couple who has displayed it all, Ann and Ray Robinson from Wingity Ann's.
We're husband and wife. We're go-getters, basically, what we've been told. But we go get for our family, for our boys, our grandchildren, and our community, the children around our community, to let them know that there is a purpose, there is a mission, there is a goal, and you know, we all can achieve it. We've just been those type of people, you know, I guess since we met.
So 20 years in the fold in Jackson, and can you tell us, how did y'all get into this business that y'all had? Can y'all just give us the story of how y'all started?
Well, it kind of just started with
sports.
Yeah, just trying to find a way to make some money to run this AAU team that we were trying to get started off of the ground. So it started with that, trying to sell dinners for fundraising purposes, and the demand became overwhelming, let's just say. Because if it wasn't a week we were going to a tournament, then we weren't doing any dinners, but everybody was calling like, you have to cook regardless, like whether you're having a tournament or not. So we started doing it on a regular basis. And
so was that a team that one of the kids was on, or what?
All the boys.
Both of the boys and a lot of their friends.
Yeah. The boys.
A lot of them couldn't, like, they had the bigger Nike affiliated teams, and those teams, you know, most of the kids and our kids, of course, we couldn't afford to send them to those teams, so we'd do it ourselves.
And they're not local, so it requires a lot.
So that was the big purpose behind it.
That was to
be able to
help fund it, for sure.
Yeah, and then once you got a good product going, it's hard to make them stop.
It's
Just
hard
basketball
to make them stop.
ain't
Yes.
going
Everybody
no more.
said they were addicted. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guilty.
Guilty.
Yes, sir.
How long has it been now since you guys been in business?
So it has been 11 years. We started initially in 2011, and it's been nonstop.
Man,
Although,
that's
you know,
amazing.
we had breaks during COVID because COVID did affect a lot of resources as far as our inventory and things of that nature, and customers as well. Nobody was coming out and things. So, you know, we did have to pump the brakes for a minute during COVID, but we recovered well, I would have to say, yeah.
When did you guys first, like, decide and know that you wanted to go into business when you made that transition? Tell us about that.
I'm gonna say it as a joke, because it kind of was a joke. Everywhere we went, we were smelling like chicken. So we said we had to find a way to get it out of the house.
Yeah.
So we had to make it a business, and we bought a trailer because we knew then we could get it out of the house, we could stop smelling like it, and we'll be good to go.
Yeah.
So we kind of was forced in a sense, but it was funny at the same time, you know, because I mean, no matter where we went, somebody wanted to bite us.
Yeah.
You know.
No, really.
Y'all smell like chicken. So we kind of got tired of that and said we got to get it out of the house and make it really something.
Yeah. Where did y'all start? Because I know y'all wasn't in. You know, I know the story, but tell us. You know, tell us.
Right at home.
Right at home in the kitchen. Yeah.
Right.
Right at home in the kitchen with 2 tabletop fryers that we bought locally here right at Walmart, and it took off. We had a friend of ours that found a larger fryer at a garage sale, and she brought it over to us like, I bet you guys could use this, and it was like double the size, and it definitely stood the test of time because it was our #1 money maker for sure.
Man.
We went from there to the driveway.
Yeah. So from in the kitchen to the driveway, I remember both days. You know, so I think it's just amazing to see the growth.
Well, the process comes with a lot of research and reading. You really need to know, like, basically what the first step is. You know, I'm not very business savvy, you know, at all, but I'm a great reader. I love to read and I like to learn. So it started with, you know, seeing exactly how we wanted to do it, you know, how big we wanted it to be. And let me tell you, like, what we anticipated, this has so superseded more than what we could have ever expected. Like, what we planned for, this is on a whole nother level even of what we planned for. So once we realized that we had to, for one, find a place to get in outside of the kitchen, it was just like, sometimes things just fall in place. Like, I think, like, when you're on the right path of doing what you're supposed to be doing, things just start to fall in place. So a trailer became available at a very affordable price. And then Ray knows how to do everything. Like, he can fix and build and do whatever. So we got it, we upgraded it and opened it up in the driveway, and it just dominated the neighborhood. And so then we was just like, okay, so now what do we do? You know, we got to, like, this is an actual business. It is a business. Everybody was expecting it to be a business. So the process then began to be, okay, so now what do we have to do? We're gonna need some money. You know, what are our options? You know, where we stand and where can we seek this funding out and things like that. And, you know, we've been banking with our bank and, you know, been, you know, good. And they worked with us, like, they literally held our hand and was like, this is what we're gonna do for you. We want to do this for you. So we had saved up some money, and so we saved up half for a new trailer because, of course, we outgrew the small trailer.
Yeah, so let's rehash the steps. So y'all went from the house,
to the
trailer to the big trailer.
Within 9 months.
Yeah.
Because we outgrew the small trailer.
Yeah.
By probably about 3 months into it, but we just kept pushing forward and just was like, the line in the community, like in our driveway, would be straight down, all the way down the block, you know. So we, you know, like I said, we were lucky to find the one trailer at a good price, but to upgrade and go to something big, you know, we had to start, you know, getting some ducks in line and things like that. And like I said, we had been saving, and we saved, and the bank helped on the other half. And then after that, what do you say, 9 months later, we outgrew the big trailer. When we thought 20 feet was gonna be enough, no, it really wasn't.
Not even close.
That whole thought of thinking that that was gonna be suffice, definitely came to realization real quick that we were gonna actually need a building. We were in demand for delivery, we were in demand for dine-in, you know, so then, like I said, to continue, the growth was just, it was like we were just being pushed from behind, like, nope, next, on to the next, on to the next.
So now you talked about it a little bit, but tell us some more about, like, was it difficult for you to get financed and find the proper financing to make all these steps happen along the way? And what advice would you have for individuals who are walking down that path of trying to get their business financed?
I say it was difficult because of the things that myself didn't know as far as banking and credit and things that we're teaching our children now, and the people that we hire and that we were teaching our ball players as well, that the importance of keeping your credit in line, because you never know when the opportunity comes about. And if I had to give advice, would just be like, sit down with your bank and let them map you out where you're sitting at, because even you think it's business, it still goes off your personal credit. So you got to get your personal credit in line to start your business credit.
That's right.
So you want to, I mean, you don't have to have a perfect one, you know, but it's good to just work on it and take care of your bills.
What about anybody else in the community? Like, what other places were you guys able to reach out to, or did anybody or any specific areas in the community reach out to you to make sure that you guys had the proper support you needed?
We did have one, but they remained, well, I'm saying one majorly. We had a few, but we had one for sure that wanted to remain anonymous, so we're gonna leave them anonymous, and if they see it, they'll know who they're talking about. But they were a great help, but they were brought to the table by RJs. We got with them, we talked to them, you know, about some things. They came and looked at this place with us, and you know, kind of gave us some motivation.
Definitely some motivation for sure.
Some motivation to go ahead and pull the plug, because we really weren't going to come in here. I mean, you hear a lot of things about the mall. It's a ghost place, but we have loyal customers, so we know they're going to follow us. I mean, we do open houses, we do catering parties. Our customers come to those things as well. So we knew that wasn't going to be the issue. We were just thinking about what all we had to do in a space. You know, when you go from a trailer to a space, it's two totally different monsters.
What do you think can be done to help other black businesses thrive?
The thing that I would say is to reach out to someone who is doing what you're doing, for one, you know, and just to see, like, you know, all the beginning, middle, and end steps it took to get to where they're going. The only thing I could say is just reaching out to people who you see. You can't, you know, they say closed mouths don't get fed. You can't realize anything until you seek the knowledge, you know, so you have to get out there and, you know, put some fire up under your butt and get out here and try to network.
No, you got to stay persistent, because if you're not persistent, then they don't want to give you information that they think you're just going to run off and let it go sit in the closet somewhere. So you got to, I think with us, we kind of stayed persistent on a few people that we were asking help for. I mean, just because they didn't answer a text or answer a call, they may be busy, because now we realize it. You know, Sarah, she reaches out to us, and sometimes we're busy, but we get back with her. So what I would tell future black business, just if one person doesn't answer your question, continue to ask or find someone else. You know, don't just stop at that one person, and don't just take it as if we're not willing to help each other, because we need to do a lot more of that. We need to help each other. You're gonna have to have another quote unquote black business help another black business get on, you know, what they need, because it's better, what do you call it, perceived you know, because you know that person's background. You know they didn't have that silver spoon, or they didn't have that extra help grandma or grandpa had, and you know, background. You really, really had to get it, you know, and without that information, you won't be able to get it.
Yeah.
If I said it right.
Oh, you definitely hit the nail on the head.
For sure, appreciate it. Because trust me, we miss our babies out of the neighborhood.
We do.
We miss them come knocking on that door asking for that dollar fry. And we know that they're not capable, but we say we're going to do something for them. We'll pick them up one day and bring them all in here.
We got some kids
for sure, because our kids are our #1 fans. They the one forced the parents to come out.
And
we want some Wingy Deannes. We want some Ray Robs. You know, so it's where our heart started from. It's still there. It's the children.
Yeah.
It's all about the kids, man. And if you give them something to look forward to, and look up to, and be hopeful for, then you can change. You never know who you can change. You know, because all of them, they got to be what, 7, 8 years old,
no, they're little,
asking
like
for jobs.
6. No, already they're asking.
And if
like
we could hire
work,
them, we would definitely have them working, for sure. Because at that point, we got them. You know, you don't have to worry about them when they're growing up 16, 17, crawling in your window.
Yeah.
You know, they see a business because they know we got it straight out of the mud.
Yeah.
I mean, you know where we come from.
You know I
how
do,
this
man.
thing
And I think
started.
that's such an inspiration. That's where that humble beginning started from, and the intention behind it, and knowing the story of, like, this was all started to support, you know, a basketball team that you guys had, and just seeing where you guys have been able to grow to, because, you know, I'm a frequent flyer.
For sure.
From all 3
For sure.
locations, so you know I know how that road has been, and how consistent you guys stayed along the whole path. I think it's just amazing to see.
When I think of the phrase, let your light shine, I think about the fact that we're called to be the light in the darkness. So for me, that means being joyful, being honest, being bold, being loving and caring. And so when people see me, they're supposed to be able to tell that there's something different about me. As president of Student Government Association, I let my light shine by just being willing to serve others and being willing to help whoever. So it doesn't really matter whether I know the person or not, just being willing to go in and fill in the gap.
Hello, I am Kelly Crum, Chief Diversity Officer and Director of Diversity, Equity, and Belonging, and part of the Jackson Juneteenth Executive Committee. Community is important because it defines who and what we are. The dynamic husband and wife duo has brought Jackson and other surrounding cities a community of professionalism and excellence. I now introduce Kelvin and Alicia Williams of AV1 Media Group and Split Screen Mobile Production. Can you tell us a little bit about who you are?
I'm a sound engineer. I design, build sound system. I tour with sound system and video. So basically that's what I do for a living.
So your production is silver screen mobile production, correct?
Split screen.
Split screen, sorry, mobile production. And then Alicia has AV1 presentation. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your business a little
Absolutely. I am technically the owner of Audiovisual One Presentations. It was basically a company that we put together and built around Kelvin's skills and talents. When we met each other, he was doing this. He was doing sound engineering and touring. And so our first few years, we lived the life on the road, and our kids grew up in hotels. And when he decided to come off the road and really incorporate everything that he's done and had been doing for the 20 years prior, we established a business here, right here in Jackson, to be able to accommodate the needs for the local live venues and events that were occurring.
Excellent. So are you a Lumen Christie grad?
I am, Lumen Christie, 1984.
1984.
Yeah, I'm a proud Titan and a proud Sparty.
All righty. Calvin,
Yes,
go Vikings? Is that what you are?
Yes, Jackson High.
Jackson High School.
The best.
I totally agree with that. Okay. So you went to Jackson High, you went to Lumen Christie, and so do you feel like being a part of the community has helped with your business?
You know, it has been a transition throughout the years. It definitely has been a struggle, being a minority-owned business, finding a foothold within the community that recognized that you can get nationally renowned technology and skill and integration into your event right here in Jackson, because people think you've got to go to the major cities, to the Chicago, to the Atlanta to get that type of talent. And he's been all those places and brought it right back here to Jackson. So,
Calvin, tell us a little bit about who famous that you did your sound for.
Oh, wow.
Who was it that you brought maybe to Jackson that you helped facilitate some of those great music legends?
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Want to start with my favorite?
Okay, yeah, start with your favorite. I mean, I work with The Time.
Absolutely, Prince.
Prince.
Absolutely.
Ray Charles, Dizzy Gillespie, Aerosmith. I think that's their name, I forgot.
We go through
Light
the list
Orchestra.
all
I
the
mean,
time.
there's just, it's a big list.
Yeah, especially for those 80s babies,
Yeah.
Atlantic Star, Midnight Star, Ready for the
I
World,
remember.
DeBarge,
Y'all
all
taking
of
me
those.
back. Y'all
Yeah.
taking me way back.
It was dealing that. I mean, that's what I was on the road, and we some of them were tours, and some of them what you call one-offs. That's this one night somebody has a show, and they just call me in, and we just I mix the sound for them or do the full production for them.
What do you remember most?
Some of them were just so cool. Then the other ones were just, who is he? What is he doing here? But other than that, it was great. I mean, those guys and women, they're great. We had some problems with some of the acts back in the day. I mean, never mind. I don't want to get into never mind. But other than that, it was nice. It was really nice.
Yeah. What drew you to want to be the sound person, the sound guy?
Well, I wanted to start with video when I was in middle school as a cameraman, but when my sister took me to a Shaka Khan with Mandrill in Michigan State University.
Okay.
So I saw this guy in the back doing all the work, and I asked him what he was doing. He said, "I'm mixing sound for the band," and that's what. From then on.
Wow. What about you, Alicia?
This was not in my wheelhouse whatsoever.
Okay.
I had not planned to do anything like this. It wasn't what I went to school for. I just have always been a techno nerd, a total geek. Even in high school, I was the AV girl. I was the one that knew how to thread the film strip, work the mimeograph, all of those things. So I always liked the technology piece of it. And being able to tour with him and see many of the shows being behind the scenes. And that's actually how we met, was in a production where I was behind the scenes doing the stage production, doing all of the, assisting with choreography. So I really like the technology piece of it. And I'm a software person, he's a hardware person, and together it just made a great pair and company and partnership.
I love that. You have a husband and wife duo team. What are some challenges that you two face?
Remembering who's the boss.
Wow.
Love that.
Yeah.
On paper, I'm the boss.
You're the boss on paper.
But when it comes to setup and technology, until the hardware is in place, I have to defer to him. And he's such a perfectionist. and really goes above and beyond for his customer and for the event, that, and I'll be not even shy to say, sometimes I'm like, but they didn't ask for that. He wants to do that little bit of extra. So it takes a lot of time, and it takes a lot of prep and setup and devotion to the event. So sometimes I have to defer to what he wants to do to show his excellence. So that's a little bit difficult for me sometimes.
While you were talking, it was making me think is, how do you provide good customer service? Because evidently there's a lot of folks here in Jackson that call you all up, right?
Absolutely.
To come and do. We've done things at Jackson College, our Martin Luther King program. I know you've done stuff for the chamber and so on. Define to us, what is customer service to you?
Making sure it's done right and they don't have to worry about it. See, when a CEO goes up to the microphone, he or she, they don't want to worry about,
is it going to work?
Is it going to work? Any feedback. And that's what I make sure, or the B-roll or the tape roll is rolling when they want it to, or the graphic is up on the screen. They don't want to worry about. That's something that they, when we come in, they don't worry about. That's the main thing.
I like to chalk it up as whatever it takes.
Yeah.
Whatever it's going to take to make it the best event possible. And then we realize that when we walk away from it at the end of the day, people are going to say, AV1 did a good job.
Yeah.
Well, I will contest that you guys do an awesome job. How can someone get a hold to you all?
My email is av1calvin2, that's A is Apple, V is Victor, the number 1, the number 2 at yahoo.com, or they can call me at 517-206-5538.
And we also have a Facebook page and LinkedIn page, and we're pretty much, you can ask around and someone knows how to get a hold of Calvin Williams, and that phone number has not changed in over 35 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we have almost first cell phone, you know, that came out. I think
number.
The third number that I had was 206.
That one.
Yeah.
So right next to me is this Audio Visual One presentation, Best of 2021. Tell us about this award that you all received.
Go ahead. I want to hear it from you, Dawn.
Well, no, it was quite a shock. We received a couple of emails, and at first I ignored it. I think we were working, and you know, you get those kind of who's who type of events where they want you to pay for it and get things done. But as I started reading it, I decided to go ahead and complete the information that they wanted, because I really think Calvin deserves the recognition for what he does. This is definitely not our first award, it's our latest award. We have been in national competitions, and we came in third for the Midwest for the Parnelli Awards. And because he is known across the country, we do get our name submitted into a lot of things, but this one was important because we had not felt like Jackson had recognized or remembered that we've been doing this for a very long time. So to receive this from Jackson, I think this one's very
that's
special.
a great one. Yeah.
And it's actually the prettiest one that we have. I love this award. Thank you.
And so it leads me to my next question. How important is it to have representation of Black-owned businesses in the community?
I absolutely think it's critical. This is a community based on a multicultural shades of colors of nationalities. Jackson really is a melting pot of all of the cities that are surrounding us. So you're talking Hanover, Horton, Vandercook, Grass Lake, Ann Arbor, Lansing, Battle Creek, Albion. So to be minority owned, I mean, it doesn't have to be Black, but to be minority owned and recognize that you are here, that you're hometown, and that you've been here all of this time. And Jackson is built off of some amazing minority-owned, African-American-owned businesses that we've worked with for many, many years. But all of us have been kind of under the radar, and it's time to put a spotlight on the amazing place that Jackson is. And, you know, I love to remind people, we're right there at that vortex between 94 and 127. Wherever you're going in Michigan, you're going to come through Jackson. So stop, because we got it all here.
This new building right here, I mean, this is what I always wanted, this building right here.
Were you able to get support from local financing here from Jackson? Were there some struggles, or
Well,
was it all just
it was at first.
easy?
It was at first. I got a loan from Comerica Bank. That was my first business loan.
Okay.
And it wasn't large, like 10,000 or something like that. And I just bought a bunch of gear, and it wasn't enough. But we had to work with what. Yeah.
It was a start.
Yeah.
I definitely don't feel like the minority businesses have had their fair opportunity to grow and diversify based on the finances that have been available to them. Even in this pandemic time, you know, so many of the minority-owned businesses did not have the resources to receive many of the PPP loans and the paycheck protection loans and the hardship loans. You know, so for us, although we have had small amounts of financing, we are a cash-based business, and everything that we've built and everything we've acquired, we've had to pay for it cash because the resources weren't there and the credibility wasn't there for a bank to say, yes, we're going to trust you with this, even though that same bank, those same credit unions were our customers.
Yeah.
So.
And so that's one of the problems I would see, not with just us, with any other minority business, that they just can't get the financing. I wanted to do finance, but you know, being in this area, you have to think about, okay, can you pay back that loan? That's the key.
With the revenue that's coming in from this area.
Yeah. So that's one of the main things.
So what message would you give to people who want to be an entrepreneur, who want to have their own business?
The one thing that I tell everybody to do is get insurance.
Insure yourself.
You have to.
Incorporate, LLC, whatever it is, so that it's not in your name, so that the credit that you're building for your company is not on your Social Security number. That was one of the hard lessons that we had to learn, because we built everything off of our Social Security at the beginning. Definitely that. And then for anybody who wants to get in business, base the business off of your skill. Base the business off of what you do best. And then diversify that, and then let people know that you're capable of doing it. Especially right now, with all the thousands of people that did not return back to the workforce, you have more and more businesses and more business applications that are being applied than ever, because people are now relying on their own skills and their own ingenuity. So the talent is here. We definitely have it. But you know, you have to do it right, and you have to know the steps that it's going to take to make your business viable.
I use my brain power to help kids realize theirs. I am Henry.
When Tyler got his new heart, ours became whole again. We are Henry.
I'm a bike rider and a rare cancer survivor. I am Henry.
I move patients from point A to point B. I am Henry.
I am Henry.
I am Henry.
When you found your inner believer and all-around conqueror, you found your Henry.
I'm Leslie Bowles, Unity Council Chair at Baker College. I'm representing Jackson County Undersheriff Christopher Simpson. We both are executive members for the Jackson Juneteenth Committee. The key to any successful business is to care about the people in your community, the commitment to serve others, and the peace of mind knowing your customers' needs have been met. We now present Farm Bureau Insurance of Michigan, Beta Family Agency.
I'm Christopher Simpson here today, representative of Juneteenth Committee with Eric Beta from Farm Bureau Insurance. The acronym potentially is FBI, as I looked at it as I walked in. But we'll keep it as Farm Bureau. How you doing today, Eric?
Fantastic. Better than I deserve.
Well, it is definitely an honor to be here with you today. As we spoke earlier, you were selected by the Juneteenth Committee. We want to showcase your business. We want the community to know more about you and about your business as well. So congratulations on being chosen by the Juneteenth Committee.
Well, thank you. I'm certainly humble and grateful for the opportunity.
Thank you. Well, Eric, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I've been, again, a graduate from Michigan State, came here as a young grad, age of 22, and really just got involved in the community. Worked at Consumers Energy,
yes,
which was really the place where a lot of the graduates coming from Michigan State University, it was the place to go, it was the place to be. And so really that's kind of like how I found Jackson, through that connection, and just met a lot of professionals in the community. From that, started a nonprofit organization where supporting at-risk youth and really providing academic support to them and trying to help them to navigate and find their inroads to college. And so really created a pipeline from Jackson to various colleges across the state of Michigan to help youth. And from that, we've helped over 600 kids in the program that I started. Did it for about 10 years. And then from that, I navigated to Spring Arbor University. There was a connection there because of my involvement in the college prep program. And so went there, worked there for 7 years. And then from that, had some experience in working for other entrepreneurs. And really, I kind of felt after a while, hey, it's time to start your own deal. You know, you've been around people starting their own businesses, and I've been hearing a lot about it. Really, one of my roles, actually, when I was at Consumers Energy, I worked with a lot of small businesses, creating a process for them to become preferred suppliers with Consumers Energy. So I would obviously hear about their businesses and really just became intrigued how they started and so on and so forth. And I would look at the contracts and I would be writing these businesses. You know, we're talking, you know, a small contract could be, you know, a few $100,000, upward of $30 million contract. Absolutely. So I'm looking at those contracts and I'm thinking, hey, I'm on the wrong side of the aisle here.
So you did a lot of networking, you know, out of college. I mean, with the big organization here in Jackson with Consumers, and then going to Spring Arbor. Is the networking is what drew you into entrepreneurship?
I think that's a good question. I've always had, as a college student, my background, obviously my studies, my undergrad is in business management, so it was in business management, as well as my master's degrees. It's a business degree, MBA. And so I've always been around the concept of business. It intrigued me since college. In fact, I started off as an engineering major after my first 2 years. I still love math to this day, but I didn't really have that excitement. I think my dad was more excited about me going into engineering than I was. And so when I took my first business class, it was kind of like, wow, I like what I'm doing here. I love the idea, the marketing classes and management classes I was taking. I felt like a light bulb just kind of went off. And so from that time, really just started reading a lot of books about entrepreneurship and about successful entrepreneurs, and really just, and motivational books I've been reading really just kind of got me going and thinking, hey, I think I can do something like this.
How long have you been doing it now?
Now we're, I guess, moving in third year.
Third year.
Yeah, so.
Third year.
Kind of started it, I would say, right as COVID was kind of going up, which I would say.
That's about the timeline. Yeah, 3 years ago.
I would say that's That's not the ideal time to start a business.
I agree.
But I think just being the kind of person I am, I like to be challenged. Sometimes it's
and we know and we know COVID was a major hurdle for, you know, everywhere. It was a major hurdle outside of COVID, and you're coming into this business of insurance. You see that there's definitely a corner of the market that you can tackle through education. What other hurdles did you encounter? Financial, you know, getting a business space, being licensed. What were there any major hurdles that you had to navigate? You know, that inevitably you can pass that on to another African American male or female who may want to open up their own business of insurance.
I mean, there are definitely a lot of different things I had to think through. I mean, as you mentioned, certainly I had to be licensed through the state of Michigan. Oftentimes, I think when people want to start a business, they are not really, I should say, they're not well informed on what it actually takes financially to start the business.
Right.
We tend to minimize the startup costs and just kind of think, hey, you know, this probably takes me about a couple $1,000s, I can get this thing going. But really, when you start getting into commercial space, leasing, insurance, and all these different packages that people don't really think about, it takes a little bit more than your $2,000 or whatever the startup cost you anticipated. I would say that's one challenge.
Okay.
What it actually may take to start the business. The other challenge is the person that is starting the business has to have the right frame of mind. Obviously, me coming from corporate environment, working for other companies, to now starting my own business, there's a shift in paradigm.
Mm-hmm.
You have to shift your mindset from being an employee to becoming self-employed. That's a different perspective. And then, and as I kind of talked to you earlier about, I have this 4-quadrant that I kind of operate through, this 4-business quadrant, which I think it's important for really a lot of business owners to think about, or folks that want to be self-employed, is you have to learn how to shift your mindset from being an employee, that is, you used to work for someone, to becoming self-employed.
And then being an employee is quadrant 1. Self-employed is quadrant 2.
Right. So there are 4 quadrants. So quadrant 1 is I work for Chris Simpson or Spring Arbor University or Consumers Energy. Quadrant 2 is I'm self-employed. I don't have the corporate backing, and I don't have the corporate support. I don't have the pay time off. All these different things that comes with being in quadrant 1. The benefit, 401k, all those things, you know, we can go on and on.
Sure.
And quadrant 1 is just you. I mean, obviously you may have some cash behind you, but you don't have paid time off. You don't have paid sick leave or whatever you want to call it. You don't have paid vacation time, all these different things.
So it's just you and
it's just you, and you have to make it work, right? If you don't wake up because you don't feel like going to work, great, the business is not running because you're not there. Or you decide, hey, you know, I need some time off because I'm the boss and I deserve it. Great. Just so you know that your door will not be open when you're not in the office.
Business is not being
and then in quadrant 3, that's when you're moving from being self-employed to being an employer. So now you have people working for you. So now I can afford to take a half a day off or whatever have you, because business, the doors are still open. My staff are keeping things going. Quadrant 4, obviously each quadrant has its challenges.
Sure.
Obviously being an employer, you have to worry about, obviously people coming to work on time. People are working when you're not there, and so on and so forth. Paying workers, you're paying benefits now to people in quadrant 3. And then quadrant 4 is you are moving into the stage of an investor, where you can go to Florida for a week, 2 weeks, or you can go to sleep and the business is earning on your behalf. And so I think that's the mindset that as you're starting a business, have to think about where am I and where do I want to be. And so as you think about these 4 quadrants, quadrant 1, an employee, 2, self-employed, 3, I'm an employer, and then 4, ultimately, I'm an investor.
Did you have any support from some of the locals, the chamber, the DDA, the enterprise group? Did anybody reach out, or was that known to you?
Well, I think obviously having the experience with Consumers Energy and working in the community, and
so you had the resources then.
Not necessarily I had the resources. I was aware
okay.
of resources out there. And so one of the first things I did really, I reached out to the enterprise group. And so my good friend, Alex Maston, who is a VP there, she kind of said, hey, I was asking her about spaces I can lease in a downtown area because initially I was on Horton Road there. I felt that they was kind of far out of the way, if you will, and I wanted to be located in downtown Jackson. And so she said, oh yeah, I think the chamber may have some space available. And so I reached out to the chamber, connected with Craig Hatch, and then from there, really the conversation got going. And sure enough, I came to the facility, and it was fitting to what I was looking for.
Has the location been advantageous for you?
Certainly, it's great. I mean, the view, I'm right in downtown here, so I'm in the middle of the action. Sure. Do a lot of walk-ins, but I think for me, most of it has been just reaching out, networking, and connecting with other individuals, and just developing a relationship. And so I think it's important once you're in business, you have to go out and to be intentional in developing relationships with individuals and with other business owners, and see how you can come alongside and be a support to them.
Absolutely.
Because everyone is out here trying to make it. And so you
Sure.
have to kind of position yourself, how am I going to be in a position to help your business be successful?
Gotcha.
And so for me, being an insurance agency, I come along and providing solution to the clients by saying, well, we can save you some money, or we can serve as your insurance agency or your insurance department in a sense, though we were not working directly for you as your own in-house insurance agency, but nevertheless we'll serve as in-house support. So
Understood.
that it really takes the edge for a lot of the small businesses. They're like, hey, great, if you can handle all my insurance stuff, there you go, make it work. And so it's been great partnering with different businesses and individuals to make that work. So.
Outstanding. What do you think can be done to help black businesses in Jackson County to be more successful?
I think one of the things I've broached the subject to the chamber before. I think it's going to be important for either the chamber or some sort of networking organization, or at least a platform where these businesses or individuals who are seeking to be business owners can come and to hear from the small and the great, what's working, what's not working, understand the importance of obtaining capital. So getting the credit unions and the banks involved in these conversations. Again, it's not necessarily inviting these individuals to say, give somebody a loan, but no, right. But just come to the table and say, hey, here's our processes for ways to improve your success rate on getting along with us.
Involvement with the community and the walks that you walk with different people, how has that prepared you for what you're doing right now?
My relationships that I had in the community, I know originally I mentioned the nonprofit program that I started. And I obviously started that program, I was just 22. Mm-hmm. And so in the process of doing that program, I met a lot of folks. Really, I think that program really helped me to connect with the community on a greater level. And I actually, now that I reflect on that, it certainly has helped me quite a bit. I mean, I connected with parents, I connected with school districts beyond the city. Met with a lot of superintendents and really a lot of school boards about the program and how we can support their community. And so it really opened up the door for me. I mean, I think that led me to make it to the cover of Jackson Magazine and all these different things. And so being out there, having these relationships, now that I'm in business, I can go back and kind of capitalize off those relationships and reach out to people and say, hey, remember me back when? And oh yeah, I know you, Eric. Yeah, you know, people tend to trust you more because
that's that impact, that trust,
right?
Because of a prior relationship.